And we'd like to welcome you to Pipebomb Radio, bringing you the best in professional wrestling news. Here, as always, is your host, Curse. And we have a full roundtable today at this Pipebomb Studios. Why don't everyone introduce themselves? To my right,
Alex Rico here.
I'm just Jose, I guess.
The great Jose.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that.
I am Hector Diaz.
And I'm Chawa.
So, anyways, we're in a post-TLC world now. It's been, the pay-per-view's finally over. It finally went to a close. And I guess we're going to discuss the future plans after these matches have been set, you know. Pretty much decisions have been made. We have winners, we have losers. And we're just going to see what's in the future for these people. And opinions, you know. I'm just going to ask you guys for opinions. What do you guys see them doing, these certain losers, these certain winners, heading into the Royal Rumble? So we're going to kick off our Kayfabe news with a TLC report. Anyways, there was a opening match was Rey Mysterio and Sin Cara versus the Rhodes Scholars. And there was a pretty high intense match. It was excellent, a lot of good spots. It ended up with Sin Cara trying to do a springboard to the inside of the ring, and he just got pushed by the Rhodes Scholars. Went through 2 tables, or I think he missed 1 table.
The last table.
And he just ended up on 1 table. So they ended up losing. Rhodes Scholars are obviously now the #1 contenders. It's kind of set in stone, but I just want to hear opinions. And what do you guys see in the future for the Rhodes Scholars?
Well, I think Rhodes Scholars are definitely up there. I hope they revitalize that tag team division now. I mean, it's already been revitalized little by little.
Yeah.
They kind of had a brief hiatus because of Cody Rhodes, but now that he's back and more mustachio than ever, I think they'll bring back the focus on the titles.
Bring back focus on titles.
I kind of wish we could have seen more of Damien Sandows push by himself.
Yeah.
Looking for an apprentice.
That whole apprentice thing was pretty good.
Going over.
It's probably
more.
It's probably something that they'll have ready for him, you know, once he goes solo. But it's weird, you know.
Yeah,
Cody,
it's like they planted the seeds of them already splitting with Miss.
Yeah, and not even that. Cody Rhodes at first seemed like he did seem like he was gonna be the Marty Jannetty, if I could copy a phrase Miz said on Monday. You know, he did seem like he was gonna be the Marty Jannetty.
But then again, that's what they thought when he split with Ted DiBiase.
Exactly.
What happened. And
the same thing with Sandow. And now that he grew a mustache, you have fans chanting, you know, Cody's mustache. It's odd. It really is odd.
The pink and the stink.
Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna go to our next topic, which is Cesaro's success and the Wildcat. And these were obvious winners at the TLC Pay-Per-View. So I just want to know what you guys think of the United States champion, Antonio Cesaro, and the Intercontinental Champion, the Wildcat Kofi Kingston, who successfully defended their titles at this pay-per-view. Any future success? You guys still see them on their winning ways, or you guys see them dropping the titles at, you know, the main event within, you know, a few weeks, or what do you guys see?
I think the fact that they're that they both won is great for the titles themselves.
Yeah.
I've been preaching the bringing up the belts over and over, because right now you just have some feuds that are kind of being built around the title, but the title is still not the main focus.
Mm-hmm.
But now that Kofi beat Barrett, which was a little surprising to me, now there's some sort of build-up to an actual legitimate title match instead of just a feud between 2 superstars. With Cesaro, he's going higher and higher on the totem pole. Even though he still has the U.S. title, you know, he can only go so high, but he's really filling out the roster to me, and I think I really like that.
All right. Any other opinions on that? No.
Just I hope he holds it all the way to Mania.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess because this is my first time watching Cesaro fight.
Yeah.
I was really impressed with him. Not only because when the last pay-per-view I saw was Survivor Series. Yeah, Survivor Series with The Rock and everything. I didn't even know it existed. I didn't even know. Well, the Intercontinental Championship was already out, but the United States, I think they didn't show it, didn't they? Yeah, they didn't have it.
They didn't showcase that title as much before.
Seeing it back was really good, and now seeing all these new fighters
Faces.
like Kofi Kingston,
What a push.
yeah, all those guys are really good. Yeah,
The Wildcat.
Why do they call him?
I heard
Wildcat?
people call him so. Exactly. Nobody knows why they call him Wildcat. It's just a thing that
It was his
promo.
Austin moment.
Yeah, his
and
Austin
he
360.
just came up with Wildcat Kofi Kingston.
Yeah,
which he should have came up with a better name.
It just reminds me of that Simpsons thing when they play football.
Yeah,
Who are we?
the Wildcats.
Who are we going to be? The Wildcats.
Yeah, it's that, and that's why I kind of usually tweet that the Wild. I always call it the Wild. It's self irony, you know what I mean. I know it's a ridiculously, it's a ridiculous, sounding.
It's definitely a self acknowledgement of how cheesy it is, and again, professional wrestling is inherently cheesy, but this is cheesy even in that realm of professional wrestling,
and that's never good, never a good thing. Chava, any thoughts on this?
I don't know. I like Kofi. I like Kofi a lot. I don't see him getting any bigger though.
Really?
Yeah, I don't see him being like being like a big time superstar where we could like have a main event with. I do see a rematch with Dwayne Barrett though. I just see him losing the belt.
You see him losing
the
belt?
Yeah, I just feel like he's just a spark. You could put him in the match and he'll light up the spark, make it exciting.
Nice.
He needs to lose the belt though.
He
can't go any further.
Okay.
Unless he has a match with Punk, like I said.
Yeah.
Because they have history, they were tag team partners, they're actual friends.
Yeah.
But at the end, Kofi would still lose. So.
Yeah. On the same tour bus with Kofi Kingston.
But I'm pretty sure Punk would put him over more than Orton did. So.
Yeah. Alrighty. Next topic is Del Rio's face turn and Miz's fail turn. Because 3MB came out for Miz TV. There was a special live edition of Miz TV on the TLC Pay-Per-View. And they just started...
There's always Miz TV nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And that's taken away from what that's taken away from what makes one of those shows
segments.
Yeah, those I'm trying to.
It's what makes it special.
Yeah,
even though it's good programming, you can hold back a little bit just to keep that anticipation. When you had back then you had the highlight reel. They had a good announcement. They had a good build up. But at this point now they're just looking for time. They're like, well, we have 15 minutes left.
Yeah.
What do we do? Let's just throw the Miz in. He's entertaining, and he is. But maybe that might be too much of an overexposure with Miz TV.
Yeah.
Throw him in something else.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, have him wrestle. Have him wrestle somebody. Yeah, and that's...
right now, he just had a match.
So 3MB kind of started berating the Spanish announce table.
Which is classic heel,
Yeah. And out of all things, Del Rio came out to help. Well, first it was Ricardo, and then it was Del Rio.
Which is kind of, what's the only connection that they all speak Spanish?
Yeah.
There's this camaraderie.
Yeah,
there's like only 3-4 people that speak Spanish.
And not Rosa.
Right.
Rosa can't speak a lick of Spanish, but I still let her lick something. I still let her lick this Spanish.
But it did turn out to be for the best.
Yeah.
Del Rio's character has been really stale.
Yeah.
No one really picked up on it. So hopefully, at least it's making things interesting right now.
And I see but this is, we're gonna save this on for later on into the show. But I'm seeing like an odd influx of these heels who have been heels for like these last few years turning face all of a sudden.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Last time I saw that I saw it on some other show years back. But that's gonna go back to her and later on in the show. We're gonna mention that later on in the show. With that, we're gonna keep on going, and we're gonna mention Punk, because Punk had an excellent promo, I'd say,
and an excellent shirt.
Yeah, that shirt.
Really knees to asses.
Knees to faces.
Faces, not asses. I got confused with boots to asses.
Ass guy right here. He's an ass man.
It's not Subway. He's not here.
Oh! Damn.
Our beloved co-host Subway.
Yeah, he's not. He couldn't make it.
He's sick, right?
Yeah.
He's sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go with that. He's sick.
Oh. Anyways,
Punk.
So it's obviously set in stone that Punk is just gonna waltz into the Royal Rumble to face The Rock. But
you can drop it.
But what about the? Yeah, you think so?
He is. He's gonna drop it. He's gonna drop it.
But But I'm just wondering about the Punk and Paul Heyman dynamic. Like, what's gonna happen between them? In the weeks leading up to the Royal Rumble. I mean, because Heyman has a match with Ryback, and Punk isn't really there to help him out and stuff. Maybe the Shield is there, but you never know what could happen and stuff. Like, what's, is the dynamic going to get strained? Is it going to lead to something? Any predictions from you guys? Any thoughts?
I'm just thinking, like, now that, well, this is going to basically ruin what I'm going to say, but John Cena not winning, I want to see who's going to lose it to, and how this going to affect the whole Royal Rumble. And now, I guess, since Survivor Series, since he's already labeled, as you guys said. So it's just, like, pops up the question, who can be there to raise the belt up as much as CM Punk did?
That's a big point, and some people might argue that it's a legend, that it's a WWE or a future Hall of Famer, and a future legend, and The Rock, he's probably the one that could bring in the ratings and hold the title at the same time. So maybe that's the reason why they're setting up the Punk and The Rock match, the Punk Rock match.
Hold it where? Via satellite?
He'll be the first person to pin another person via satellite.
Via Skype.
Via Skype.
They're gonna tout it.
They're gonna tout it.
Yeah, they're gonna
15-second match.
Yeah.
It's just in. Rock wins.
And I mean, it's odd. Punk and Paul Heyman have had huge arguments. Like I thought for sure that when they had that argument over the fact that the Vince McMahon thing. Remember when Punk was
gonna split up?
Yeah,
right.
Or it was gonna lead to a
I don't think they'll split up.
But the whole Punk Heyman dynamic has been odd since its inception. I mean, now all you see is Paul Heyman just holding the title, and he's not really doing much.
Exactly.
I mean, he's great on the mic by himself, but CM Punk can do that for himself.
It's the opposite with Lesnar when he was with Lesnar.
Exactly.
He did the talking for Lesnar.
And
have you heard Lesnar?
and that leads up to our next topic.
You see him and you're scared. He talks and you're like, oh.
By the way, where is Lesnar?
Okay.
Where is Lesnar?
Where is Lesnar?
Yeah.
Making $5 million in the toilet. Come on.
Stable?
Say.
No, but where is he really? Where is Brock Lesnar? Like, where's Brock Lesnar on my TV screen? I mean, I'm sure he quit.
Why isn't he on my TV screen?
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, I'm sure he quit, right? But you still see him being advertised for
How many times have
WrestleMania.
you quit the company?
Already quit the company. You go to WWE shop. A bunch of Lesnar T-shirts. He's one of those main guys. They're still being promoted on the website.
Yeah.
I don't know who buys into that, but it's definitely he's definitely going to show up. Maybe in that match with Paul Heyman. Who knows?
He could also be one for, I guess, CM Punk as well.
Right.
Would be a good one, but having him a long time with his condition and stuff like that would be really hard. But
Or he could be a surprise Royal Rumble entrant as well.
I don't know.
That's always a possibility.
It's
That is
weird
true.
because
lead up to a WrestleMania.
I read that they're trying to separate Punk and Lesnar.
Yeah.
But also WWE shop is selling their stuff together. It's a bundle, so.
What?
It's gonna be hard to
understand.
separate them when Heyman's connected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
They're
so-
both Paul Heyman guys, and you go
It's
back
hard
to you go back to Paul to CM Punk's shoot, and they talk about the Paul Heyman guy. Right after that was guess who split? Brock Lesnar. So maybe they'll still bring things up like that. They'll always be connected in some way.
And with that, we're gonna go on to our next subjects, which is Ziggler, Cena, and AJ. And well, it won't be much of a spoiler alert, but Cena lost the match against Dolph Ziggler with an assistance from AJ Lee, who pushed Cena off the ladder, which allowed an excellent super kick from Dolph Ziggler and an excellent climb to victory to retain back the briefcase that belongs to him.
Rightfully.
Rightfully. There you go. So,
And hasn't he defended it twice already? Against Jericho?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, yeah.
See, it's like it became a title of its own.
It's become a title, yeah.
Yeah, so it's which was excellent, on Ziggler's part, and but I just wonder what's gonna happen with the whole booking, so what, Ziggler's just gonna wait and see now, to cash it in on Show or something, which by the way, Show beat Sheamus once again with a huge ass chair, a huge,
Rightfully fitting.
yeah, a huge ass chair, that's the way to pin Sheamus, unfortunately, but yeah, so is he just gonna wait, to cash it in on Show, and what about Cena and AJ? What's gonna happen with Cena and AJ?
It was always weird to me how those storylines became connected. At first, you just had the AJ Vicky thing,
Yeah.
and then you started that whole. They started that whole affair, that whole scandal, and then they became one singular storyline. And I think they're gonna separate the two, or it's a big question mark with that ending, but. I can see the two storylines being, being two separate storylines. Yeah, entangled. That's the word I was looking for. And maybe have Cena maybe go on a losing streak, AJ continuing her crazy streak, and Ziggler possibly going for a championship run.
Wait, Cena?
Which perfectly makes
Ziggler.
sense.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Yeah. Oh.
So, any thoughts about Ziggler, Cena, and AJ? And what do you see in the upcoming weeks for
That they're
them?
just ruining AJ.
They're ruining
AJ.
by making her go back to the character that made everyone endure.
No, I don't know. By teaming her up with everyone.
That's okay.
Everyone.
Has a contract for the world.
Huh?
For the
Yeah,
world?
that's for only for the.
It's just for the world,
She's
or
gonna
It's technically the world. I don't think they've mentioned it specifically.
They
Maybe they don't need to. Maybe
Yeah.
they'll pull a fast one and pull some WWE logic on us and just say, "Well, this was for
Yeah.
It
for
does say,
both."
but doesn't the briefcase say SmackDown?
it's
But
blue.
then
blue.
again, they
Yeah.
mix it up.
Right.
Yeah.
Super Raw. So
Yeah, Super Show. Maybe they could do like some weird clause. If it's a Super Show, then you could actually cash it in on either one because it's
They'll bound to do
yeah
something like that.
because it's an amalgam of both things. So,
Yeah.
I would like to see Dolph Ziggler come up better with that. I mean, he's been holding that briefcase for a really long time. I want to see him compete against bigger people now, I guess.
he has competed with bigger people.
Well, I mean, but they haven't given him that much.
Edge,
Yeah, and I mean,
Punk,
last year.
Edge, Punk,
and no, but
Jericho, SummerSlam.
But I get his point. This is the first time we actually saw Ziggler at a main event in a while, as a matter of fact.
And win.
And actually win.
Yeah.
There you go. And actually win at a pay-per-view. And
That's what I want to see. Oh, I actually want to see like
him in the upper
Ziggler
card,
and
really.
all these new guys coming out back basically.
You guys. Well, they are building everyone up now.
Yeah.
Not like before, but
And yeah, hopefully, and that
AJ.
continues. Speaking of new blood, we're gonna say our last topic for Kayfabe, and what do you guys see in the future for these guys? The Shield and Ryback. The Shield had their debut match. They managed to beat Team Hell No and Ryback in what I thought was a really
It
brutal
was really good.
match.
It was good though.
It was
That's
good.
good.
It was.
That's
I mean, brutal as in good,
Yeah.
not brutal as in
Bad as in good.
yeah.
they came, they saw, they brought
Yeah,
justice.
90s bad. It was,
Yeah.
So yeah, they brought the justice. They
Justice.
all they needed was
The hammer went down.
Thor's hammer. All they needed was Nick Fury right there.
Right.
Shield.
You have the Shield already.
But any thoughts about the Shield and their victory? And those excellent spots. I mean, Seth Rollins with an amazing ladder spot. Shades of Jeff Hardy. Just the way he fell.
I gotta give it up to all six, man.
Yeah.
Even Ryback.
He
went
sold
all
well.
out.
He sold
Yeah,
well
he sold
that
well.
crawl back, trying to reach in time.
I definitely have to give it to Dean Ambrose's reactions.
Oh, right.
Everything.
Yeah.
It was so over the top. It was like he was looking at the audience and just like,
Yeah.
look at my pain.
Yeah, he sold it well.
Like, feel it.
Also, yeah,
Feel it. This
yeah,
is for you.
you gotta give it to the fans too, though.
Mm.
The fans were like really into the match.
Yeah, which made the match,
Even better.
that could make or break a match sometime. I'm sure they rightfully chose Brooklyn as a good location for that. I mean, that's why they also have the Brooklyn Bar there.
Isn't this the first time they go to Brooklyn?
Yeah, this is the first time they compete in the Barclays Arena because it barely opened back in September. So, so pretty much. Any thoughts though on the whole Shield versus Ryback feud? How you think it's gonna escalate even further? You think they're just gonna go on this direction? Ryback is probably gonna go in this direction, or what do you guys think happening?
Well, I think Team Hell No is going to go back to the tag team.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to focus solely on that. As for Ryback and the Shield, I think they might continue it, but maybe stray off from it again. I mean, all of us were toying with the idea of Brock Lesnar or somebody else coming in, as Paul Heyman guys. So that might happen. But the Shield has also been interfering in almost some other matches too.
Orton, yeah.
Right.
Which I fear he will destroy, just like the Nexus.
Yeah.
I think he has a point because knowing the Rhodes and the other guy won, so now they've become
Cody Rhodes and Sam now.
Yeah, they're the number one contenders. It's gonna make Kane and Daniel Bryan focus on the championships again. So
Yeah,
maybe
singles.
And he said, Shield's been focusing on not just them, not just Ryback, but other WWE wrestlers. So I'm pretty sure there's gonna be like a new stable that's gonna come out to battle against.
Mm-hmm.
What, 3 MB?
Some
Yeah.
random.
They're gonna
groups and, like,
play
yeah.
him to death?
They
Yeah.
lost to the Brooklyn Brawls.
No, come on.
I was really impressed with.
And you stable? No.
I mean,
Well, how long can
stable.
the Shield last together though?
How long can they last together?
I would like to
That's
see them
true.
individually.
I give it
I give Dean Ambrose. I think I haven't
After-
seen much of him
after WrestleMania. They should break up.
after
Maybe make it
a feud between them.
No.
No?
Still be together at WrestleMania.
Mm.
See the cracks around that time. Maybe make it to Extreme Rules and then right there separate them.
I can
Just
see.
separate.
That sounds like a good
I can
time
see
frame.
Dean Ambrose making a solo run. And,
Yeah,
and
I-
the other guys making like a tag
After
team.
watching him today,
Complete.
he looked like a great wrestler.
Yeah.
Really impressed.
Yeah.
He is a
Yeah.
great wrestler.
Yeah.
Just wait till he.
And I like how they actually use tables, ladders, and chairs, and never just like one hit, take 5 minutes to recover, and then just go for like.
Which is crazy because usually you have to win something. Use the ladder to win something.
Yeah.
This time it was pin submission and
It was
they played it well.
It was Dean Ambrose that got decapitated by Kane, and he just
Yeah.
sold it. That
Yeah.
was
Right.
excellent.
That was great.
And you had a really good mix of like athleticism with this brute force of like Ryback and
Yeah.
Kane
House.
and Reigns. You know, you definitely had a good combination. There were some really good spots, especially when they had the table placed by the turnbuckle, and I think it was Rollins and Ambrose.
He suplexed Daniel Bryan.
Right, they
Yeah.
suplexed Daniel Bryan. Really good spot.
man.
Super suplex? Or
Yeah.
is it even beyond that?
Double
Super
superplex.
The spear through the barricade, you know,
The spear through
Yeah.
the barricade.
and those chair shots. Oh my god, those chair. I don't know what
No,
They
the,
were-
the suplex is on the chair. Like
Yeah.
when they body slam people on the chair. Those are really bad.
Oh yeah, the
And
Ambrose one.
the choke slam.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
and also
The
could
chair
have
shots. Let's just say it wasn't PG.
yeah.
been, and it couldn't be a pay per view without the Spanish table breaking. Obviously, it has to be.
Of course.
Yeah.
That we're closing kayfabe and we're moving on to the backstage. We have semi breaking news as R-Truth recently tweeted this photo of his knee, right?
It's just a gash. It's just a giant gash on his knee, and the match itself wasn't particularly
brutal at all.
yeah, it wasn't
you know?
brutal at all.
It was-
Well, in comparison, still.
to the other matches on the card, yeah.
But it's definitely a noticeable injury. You should check it out on Twitter if you're not squeamish. By checking out R-Truth's Twitter. But I mean, what do you guys think about that?
I don't know. This is the nature of the business. You know, it's. I find it really funny how, you know, sometimes the most like the spots that get you the most injured are the ones that don't even look that brutal. You know,
Yeah.
whereas
Right.
you know, I'm sure Rollins took that bump like a champ. He's fine and stuff like that. Meanwhile,
His head
yeah,
from the table, the first table.
and meanwhile, Truth, you know, we don't even know what it is. We couldn't even notice
Probably
things.
landed wrong when you corkscrew.
And yeah, probably the corkscrew, the neutralizer, something happened to to R-Truth. So it just shows you how the nature of the business, how, you know, sometimes
Definitely.
Anything could happen.
Also, we know the same way CM Punk denies, you know, the Shield being associated with him. We're in no way associating this man with anything of the WWE. But Mr. Colt Cabana had a big announcement. And I'm just wanting to know if anyone has heard anything other than that, because he did say, "Oh, I have a big announcement I'm making." There's nothing that's came out of that yet. So
Well, I mean, all we saw was some photos of him backstage and last week's Raw. I think everyone freaked out that maybe he might be signed. But then you had a really good host on his Art of Wrestling podcast, and he had Jake the Snake, and maybe I thought that was the surprise, but maybe maybe I shouldn't put my hopes up. But if something good happens, maybe he signs with something, because he already has good deals with promoting WWE 13, and he already has a slew of superstars that are coming in for interviews.
exactly.
But I'm not sure. I'll just wait in anticipation.
And
He probably was supposed to make his debut on TLC, but as usual, scripted
at the last minute.
in the last minute.
Think he's gonna debut though soon?
Maybe Raw. I mean, Paul Heyman is gonna face Ryback. So
Maybe. Any thoughts on this, on Colt Cabana?
Colt Cabana?
Yeah. No.
I really don't even know who that guy is.
Okay. Any thoughts on the Colt Cabana?
Colt Cabana, come on.
There might be like a Punk association, but
Yeah, there has to be something. I'm sure that's probably going to be the big reveal. Maybe by Elimination Chamber, we're just going to realize that all these people really do tie up to Paul Heyman and stuff, you know?
Right.
So maybe that's the big reveal that's going to happen, you know? And, speaking of Elimination Chamber, if you, in the NBA, you know, if you have heard of the New Orleans Pelicans, or as they're called right now, the Hornets, during one of their halftime shows, they actually show video clips from upcoming events, concerts, whatever, what have you. Pretty much The Rock was announced for Elimination Chamber. So, what does that say about, you know, The Rock's future, you know, or his position, you know, if he's going to actually appear at the Elimination Chamber, you know, maybe...
I think a quick promo.
Quick promo? That's it?
That's it.
Quick promo.
No, not gonna wrestle.
Not going to wrestle?
Just like, just show up, build up with the hype.
Yeah.
Right, you can definitely build it up for WrestleMania. I mean, I know he has a bunch of movie deals and acting things that he really needs to do within that time frame.
Yeah.
So he might make an appearance. I hope it's not just a via satellite appearance, and hopefully the New Orleans fans get an actual glimpse of The Rock, at least cutting a good promo. But who knows?
Yeah. Any thoughts on The Rock?
He's just gonna do everything via satellite. Everything.
And
he's just probably. I see him like a special guest of some sort, like special
Maybe
referee or something.
he should be in the chamber match.
The chamber match?
Yeah. But then I feel like it would ruin his
WrestleMania thing.
Yeah.
And I actually think Chava has a good point. Maybe something's gonna happen at the Royal Rumble, and that's when The Rock makes the challenge to whoever wronged him at the Royal Rumble. That's not to say
who will wrong him.
Not to say any names.
No, let's mention names.
I don't know.
Who would wrong him? Okay, 3 people who would wrong him.
Lesnar?
3 people.
Why would Lesnar wrong him though? I mean, what?
Maybe
For beating him at SummerSlam?
No.
I mean,
Three people that would wrong The Rock at some point before Elimination Chamber.
What do you
Ambrose, Rollins, Reigns.
Subconsciously.
Do you see a matchup with
it just
Ryback?
happened.
With The Rock and Ryback?
The
and
Shield?
On the Shield? Maybe. It might be...
A tag match? A good way to build Ryback.
That might be a really solid thing to do if you want to
match?
push everyone in the situation.
And you just throw Lesnar in there too.
No.
No, it's
It's too much.
Yeah.
That sounds good.
That actually seems doable. Like,
Right.
2 and 3.
That's
Handicap.
Well, and if we're gonna just throw some like AJ responses, you know, crazy responses, you know, maybe just Cena's gonna, you know, screw over The Rock this time.
But it won't be considered heel though. Remember,
It won't be it's Cena. You know, the Cena was righting his own wrongs. You know,
Yeah.
and we might have Rock Cena too at WrestleMania, but it won't be for any title. It won't be no main event. You know, it's just gonna be.
I thought it was once in a lifetime.
I always say that.
It was once in a lifetime at that Mania.
Yeah, it'll never happen. It'll never happen in Miami again.
Never again.
Yeah. And with that, we're gonna bring in what I had mentioned before in the previous in our previous segments, which is the whole, you know, the fact that last Raw, the Raw from last week, it ended up like my Monday Nitro, you know? Like, that's how Monday Nitros used to usually end, just big brawls, big brutal brawls, multiple camera angles, crazy, you know?
Shaky camera angles and then just cut.
Like, we don't have enough time, you know? I could just imagine, you know, Tony Schiavone and Michael Cole have a lot in common, including the fact they close shows. Enough time. Oh my God, they're still
and even though, you know, Raw ends like 15 minutes after the start of the hour. You know.
Yeah, exactly. And with that, also the fact that, you know, certain heels are actually turning faces and stuff like that, and usually when that happens, it's because usually a big face turned heel, like Hogan, let's say, or maybe a big face is gonna turn heel, and they're just trying to balance everything out. Not maybe Orton, you know. Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, it's starting to seem a bit like Monday Nitro, but not even that. I mean, just looking at today's pay-per-view, I mean, you saw 3MB making these kind of not racial slurs, but they're kind of insulting. Yeah, actually, they were racial slurs.
They were definitely racial slurs.
Yeah. Do you speak English?
Do you speak American?
American. There you go, American. So
going for another foreign guy.
Yeah.
You'll throw in Santino at some point.
Yeah. And I mean the chair shots and the spots, and I mean they even let Cena compete, and he had a bloody right eye, right?
Yeah.
Right.
pink.
Yeah, pink
Yeah,
guy.
He's not right. Though.
Ben Stein should have came out with some eye drops. You know? You know, and I mean, do you guys see an edgier product?
Hopefully.
It's definitely happening in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
I have to show off. Last episode, I said, "Where are you, TV 14?"
Yeah.
It's getting slightly edgier. It's getting there. Episode prior to that, I said, "Where are you, Dean Ambrose?" Dean Ambrose showed up. So I'm all for this. This me being right thing.
Any thoughts on the edgier product? Or
Hopefully it's not just like a 5-second thing. Hopefully it stays edgy. Because
It can't.
it can't.
It can't.
Why you say
If
that?
it gets edgier,
What was the-
they're gonna make more money, and then more people are gonna want to invest, and then they're gonna have to cut it.
I mean,
That's
I,
Well, to a
That's
certain
how-
point edgy. You can't make all
That's how
every
it
match
works.
edgy. Yeah.
right. I mean, maybe they should just limit it. I mean, like we were talking about Miss TV being limited to a certain thing. Maybe these good, edgier spots should be limited to, you know, maybe
Pay-per-views.
one, maybe just the pay-per-views, maybe once or twice, you know, a month on a Raw. So that way you can still have the
The
Old
shock
moment.
value.
The old
Yeah.
moment.
You'll just have those shocking moments, and you still get to hold on to the younger audience. Maybe have, you know, the old Warzone thing where you
Yeah.
have that last hour of Raw being the most edgy and being the most, you know,
Yeah.
entertaining in that sort of way. Since, you know, the kids are probably it's past their bedtime already. You know?
Yeah. I'm sure.
And it's 11, right, when it ends normally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
11:15.
Well,
So, you know,
bedtime.
they
10.
could, yeah. By then,
Yeah. Speaking of Miz, he really flew one under the radar with the whole pink and the stink thing, you know,
Right.
which happened on Raw, you know, and I kind of like that, them flying things under the radar. I mean,
for all we know, he probably got chewed backstage. Or,
yeah.
I mean,
that's true.
but then again, he did
Get
in
2
the
more Miss
pay-per-view.
TVs
Yeah,
afterwards,
so-
so I don't know how badly he got chewed for that. So let's just hope this edgier product keeps happening, you know. Because I was impressed with the pay-per-view. Final impressions on the pay-per-view. Well, I was impressed. Were you impressed? Or
I was impressed.
were you impressed?
Yes. I really
Were
like
you
it.
impressed?
Definitely impressed.
Yes.
Awesome. So yeah, it was an excellent pay-per-view. It ranks up there with probably pay-per-view of the year. I'm not sure. We had to reanalyze that. That's what I was speaking with Alex Rico. We're like trying to analyze the pay-per-views, and it ranks high.
Each pay-per-view this year had
Its own special quirks.
multiple
about it.
matches that were good in
Yeah.
different pay-per-views.
Exactly, and this one was without any faults either. I mean, the Divas match one, you know, the Divas match seemed like a waste of time. I mean, maybe they're just trying to introduce Naomi, as you said, right?
It wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't a waste of time. She
Yeah.
got like an Iron Man performance.
And
She just sure she
like
lost,
a
but-
TNA gut check.
Yeah, TNA.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's just building up the
Huh?
the feud between
Maybe that's
Eve and what's
And
up?
Caitlyn?
Yeah.
Caitlyn. Yeah,
Yeah.
and it did seem like that. And I don't know, it just maybe we'll see where they go with this, you know.
Yeah.
And with that in mind, we're gonna go for our closing segment of the night. You hear it being chanted in arenas, you know, Cody's mustache.
Cody's mustache.
Clap, 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 clap. And I guess we're just gonna discuss wrestling's best mustaches. So I guess you started off, Alex Rigo.
Rick Rude had a good mustache.
An excellent mustache.
An excellent mustache.
Hector Diaz.
Jake the Snake. Maybe just
Oh.
because I was listening to Colt Cabana's podcast not too long ago, but I remembered, like, hey, this guy had a pretty gnarly stash, right?
Yeah.
That's my pick.
Uh,
Java, do you have a
One of us.
favorite?
I think one of us mentioned Triple H's. No.
Triple
H,
H,
yeah,
yeah,
the
the handlebar.
The
Yeah.
handlebars.
Yeah, the
He
handlebar.
looked pretty
from
beastie
his-
with that.
Yeah, big nose
Yeah.
too.
It was a frame of sorts.
I mean, what's that guy's name on NXT? The guy that had to speak about mustaches. What's his face? His name slips my mind right now. But it was some guy that had to talk about what makes a man a mustache or something like that. I forget it now.
Was he tall?
Yeah, he was a really tall guy. I forgot his name though. Still.
Oh, Dallas, was it?
No, it wasn't Bo Dallas. It was somebody else.
Some NXT guy.
Yeah, some NXT
Some
guy.
NXT
Some
guy.
NXT guy. Also, I'd say the Blackjacks, if anyone remembers.
I remember the Blackjacks.
It's And also the new Blackjacks, which was Bradshaw. And Bradshaw had an excellent fucking...
Bradshaw had a pretty gnarly mustache. I was watching a
Are we
Royal
just talking
Rumble not too
WWE?
long ago.
Yeah.
And he had the thickest mustache ever in professional wrestling, I think.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. It almost seemed like his hair matched his mustache in terms of like height. It was crazy.
Nice.
Are we just mentioning WWE people? Or
You can mention any
that
wrestling.
new guy
It's
from
wrestling.
TNA, Joey Ryan? He
Oh,
has
Joey
a-
Ryan.
He has
is
a
an excellent
Right.
mustache.
yeah, excellent mustache.
Any mustache, Jose?
Oh, he named it already.
Yeah, Bradshaw.
Bradshaw. When he was in APA. It's really
Hulk
good.
Hogan. You
Hulk
mentioned
Hogan.
Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, the yellow
It's
stash.
memorable.
Mm.
I don't know if it was great.
Wait, are we forgetting the Iron Sheik?
Oh,
Yeah.
best
Oh,
mustache in
yeah.
wrestling. Best mustache in wrestling.
Team Sheiky.
Yeah. I still haven't added it to Twitter. And I know I should, but I just...
Is he the guy who cussed me out?
Yeah, fun fact, the Iron Sheik on Twitter has cussed out Chava, which
really?
is wonderful.
Yeah, he
When
did.
did he cuss you off?
What do
I
you
don't
think?
know.
I told him to.
You told him to?
Yeah.
The Iron Sheik usually has every day, he asks who needs to be humble today. And sometimes he actually responds. And I just told him to cuss out Chava, and he told him, he called him a no good jabroni.
That's pretty good.
No response?
No response.
No response?
I replied back, but
Shout out to the Iron Sheik.
Shout out to the Iron Sheik. If you're listening,
Come after me.
camel clutch that.
Eddie Guerrero had a good mustache as well.
He definitely did.
You know? And I remember that one time he painted a mustache on Kurt Angle. Remember that one painting he used to have? And
I remember that
yeah.
painting.
You know, and it just made me wonder, like, who wouldn't look good with a mustache? I mean, I mean, Angle looks okay with the stubble that he carries
Yeah.
in TNA now,
Right.
but I don't.
He
Would
doesn't have it anymore.
he doesn't have it anymore. He shaved it off. Dang. But what about a mustache? I don't think Kurt Angle would look good with a mustache.
no.
So, in your opinion, what's one wrestler that wouldn't look good with a mustache?
Cena.
Cena. Oh my
Cena
God.
would look creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would look weird.
Almost like Cody Rhodes.
Get in the band, kids.
And then the fact that he's very kid friendly wouldn't help either.
Yeah.
I got the fruity pebbles.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cena, no.
Cena. Yeah, Cena, no mustache.
I think that's a unanimous no, right?
Jose, anybody that you don't think would look good with a mustache?
A lot of these good guys, I guess, like Randy Orton wouldn't look good on it either.
And he had one.
Wasn't he
He had one,
growing
kind of.
one?
Yeah, he was like
Wasn't he
growing one.
growing one?
Yeah, he was growing one.
Also,
But it's-
Miz, wasn't he growing one? Oh,
He still has a stubble though.
yeah.
The stubble.
Right.
Wrestler? Any wrestler?
Yeah, any wrestler.
Beffy.
I like Beth
Low
Phoenix.
blow.
Damn.
She's a douchebag, you know.
Oh yeah, CM Punk said so.
No.
Big Show. I don't. Big Show hasn't had a mustache, right?
He's had the goatee,
Let's go see.
Yeah.
but not just
Doesn't he have a
exclusively
mustache right now?
mustache.
It's just
No,
a
it's
no.
just-
It's a
he has a
goatee.
goatee.
Still goatee. But I mean, has he ever? Yeah, he's had it shaved everything off, right?
Right.
And I think he's looked really wrong without
Yeah.
it. You know?
Mhm.
Like he's not the Big Show without, or he's not even the Giant without that mustache.
That's true.
So, or I think when he was a Giant, he did have just a mustache.
Maybe.
I don't know.
Man. We didn't talk about
Macho Man
Man
has a
had
beard.
Did Rikishi
Yeah.
have a mustache?
Rikishi.
He had more of a goatee.
Yeah,
like
he had
really
more of a
thin
goatee.
goatee.
Yeah, really thin goatee. Jerry Lawler didn't he have a mustache?
Did he?
No, a goatee. Also goatee.
Yeah.
Dang.
How about Scotty Tamale?
Valvin?
No.
Huh?
Valvinus?
Val Venus.
Val
did.
Venus.
I think they all had goatees.
Yeah, they all
Yeah.
had
I
goatees.
think we need to find the fine line between
Mustaches.
mustache and
Uh,
goatee. Because I
or
mean,
facial hair.
right? I mean, Triple H's handlebars were goatee-ish,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but we'll save that for later.
Godfather. He had a mustache.
Godfather, and
Godfather.
mustache.
Yeah, mustache.
The
There you
whole
go.
train and everything.
He had a whole train.
No, fuck it. We just had to include it because it looks so goofy, even though it was more of a goatee. Michael Cole used to have a mustache.
Michael
Michael
Cole
Cole.
used to have that.
and,
Yeah.
and it looked goofy as hell on him. Now that's a guy who you should remove the mustache. You know? He looks Cena-ish.
You should remove him, period.
along with the mustache. You know?
Along with the mustache. Actually, leave the mustache, remove him.
And put it back on Stryker. I don't know why Stryker shaved it off. You think it was like backstage telling him, "Oh, shave it off"? Because
shave those sideburns. They'll tell him that.
Didn't Stone Cold have
moves.
Didn't Stone Cold have a mustache?
Goatee.
No, he just had the goatee.
No, I think he did have like a mustache.
Before when he
was a stunning Steve Austin.
Yeah. Like when he was like yeah.
Wait, what about The Rock's dad?
Tony Atlas. No, wait, not Tony Atlas. But it's
Rocky
probably
Johnson.
Rocky Johnson and
Yeah,
Tony
he had
Atlas.
the
stash.
Yeah.
He had a mustache.
That was
good.
stash.
That was good on him.
Yeah. Who else? I'm trying to think. Big Boss Man had a goatee.
Yeah.
Hawk from the Legion of Doom.
Hawk. I can't tell after over all that face paint.
Yeah. Earthquake Johnson to have a beard.
Did Tajiri have a goatee too?
No, Tajiri.
Had a
No, yeah,
Tajiri had a mustache.
Yeah, he
he just had a mustache.
He had a mustache for a while, I think.
So yeah, Tajiri.
Tajiri. It wasn't that great a mustache.
No,
we can't remember it. We can't remember it, so it's
Spike
like
Dudley.
Oh! It's
at one point he had one, no?
Yeah,
like
he had
like a good.
Yeah. And then he also, when he turned heel, he had like a Spock beard. Like,
Right,
Yeah.
he did.
I remember that Spock beard that Spike Dudley had. And
He just looks like a new age hipster now with a thick frame glass. The
see, they
beard.
should bring him back with that gimmick, you know.
Spike Dudley with a hipster gimmick.
You know, I was cruiserweight champion before it was cool. And bring back the title with that.
Yeah.
It's vintage, man.
I went to the table before.
It was cool.
Okay, internet, get on that. Spike Dudley hipster memes.
Yes, and with that, we're closing the show off. We'd like to thank you guys. But before we go, any plugs?
Yeah, you should check out Pipebomb Wrestling Radio on iTunes if you're not listening it through there. Just subscribe if you'd like. Give us some feedback. Like it on Facebook. We just love to hear from you. As for any personal plugs of mine, you can follow me at I am Hector Diaz on Twitter. And you can also read my Bleacher Report articles. Just search the name Hector Diaz and I should come up.
Nope.
Dean Ambrose. Chava, any plugs you want to...
If I remember my names on them, I don't at the moment. I guess follow Diaz and then follow me. Probably catch me on there retweeting whatever he tweets back.
Jose, you got anything?
To follow? Nah, because I'm not that interesting. So.
You're
You're
not
not that
I wouldn't be
interesting.
that
Come on.
That's why I barely invite you to
I
these
don't
things.
He likes to be off the grid.
As for me, follow me at twitter.com/LewisCurse. So you could find my Facebook as well, but I might not add you. It depends on who you are.
Depends on your mustache.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or lack of mustache and cup size, you know. Yeah, breast. But yeah, other than that, you could also follow my other show, Wolfpack Network Radio at HP Wolfpack Network. I think we have a Facebook page to like. Other than that, we're gonna close it off with somebody.
Me?
Yeah.
Want me to shoot?
Yeah. No, but do you have any plugs?
No, not at the time. I'll make one though, and then you better follow me. I'm
Damn.
gonna hunt you down and bury you.
I wonder if Subway would want to plug in anything. Well,
Yeah.
well, he didn't really show up, anyways, right?
No, because he's busy. His hands are busy at the moment. He's going around grabbing stuff. That might not be what it is.
Damn. Pipe bomb.
I could have done that.
Go, do it.
I don't know. I gotta think of something. He's not here. I gotta see him. Make fun of him.
You're witnessing a shoot on
how
our
he-
old
There's somebody
co-host.
else that could take his place.
How he looks, how he acts, whatever, what acts, whatever.
Damn. He said you were the Brad Maddox of this group.
Yeah, at least I'm famous.
Oh.
Where is he now? Grabbing a guy's ass.
And with that, we close the show off. Thank you for listening.